Hi everyone, it's Megan from Florentis Learning. So I'm currently sitting in a student no-show and all of my other lessons this morning canceled. And if you teach online, you probably know this feeling very well. It's Chinese New Year and my students are traveling and doing things with their families, and some of them are just forgetting. And so I don't necessarily expect that there'll be many of you around right now, but if you are catching the replay, just type replay in the comments. And if you have had any student no-shows today or this week, then you can definitely relate. So just drop a note into the comments and tell me how you spend your time during a student no-show. So instead of doom scrolling or refreshing my calendar, I thought I'd jump on live and talk about how I use times like this, especially around holidays, to support my students and grow my business. So holidays often feel disruptive. Schedules change, students travel, classes pause, and the reality is they're not necessarily the same holidays as I might celebrate. And because of that, I'm like, well, yeah, but I want to be working. I want to be, teaching lessons. I want to still keep a normal routine. And for some teachers, of course, you might decide that this is a great time to take a bit of a break and to recharge your batteries. And absolutely, lots of teachers choose to take their holidays around the same time as their students take their holidays. For me, my partner goes to work for 6:30 a.m. in the morning, so I'm up anyway. So I like to use that time first thing in the morning to do things that are productive and useful, and usually that is some teaching. So honestly, though, holidays are one of the easiest times to add value without adding pressure. So whether it's Chinese New Year or Valentine's Day, this is a great time to do some of those interesting, different cultural lessons and give students an opportunity to share their culture if you're teaching Chinese students, which is what I primarily teach, or to have an opportunity to share your culture um, and talk about Valentine's Day. So I don't see these as extra lessons. I see them as connection lessons. And so you sort of have two ways to handle this. One, if you've got students who've canceled and you don't have lessons, then you could use a holiday lesson or a seasonal lesson and throw out a free class. This is an awesome opportunity to invite all of your students to attend the free class, and encourage them to bring a friend. You can set up a WeChat group for it and get them to invite people to the WeChat group. You can use a landing page and gather people's emails, but you want to make sure you still have contact with those students so that they don't get the information about the link to class for without providing you with contact information. So you can follow up afterwards. So for Chinese New Year, I have released one brand new lesson this morning, which is a beginner level Chinese New Year lesson. It's called Lucky Red. And it really is all about sort of things that we might do or see as lucky, particularly within the Chinese context. So that is available in the seasonal pack on Florentis Learning. And this really is designed for beginners. It covers reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and focuses on practical vocabulary. And I really designed it with the goal of helping students talk about what they're doing, what they see, and what the holiday means to them. We often ask them, what did you do today? And this is an opportunity to give them the tools and the vocabulary that they need to actually talk about Chinese New Year. This is the kind of lesson that really makes parents feel like, oh, my child can actually talk about their culture in English. And that's huge. I also have an advanced lesson or a more advanced intermediate advanced lesson, which is celebrations around the world, specifically focused on Lunar New Year and Chinese New Year. And this works for your higher level kids. It works for teens. It even works for adults. And there's lots of options and choosing in it. So you might choose to focus on vocabulary. You might choose to do the listening and reading. You might choose to explore one country and or another country and compare and contrast. You can introduce writing to it if you wish. So really lots of opportunities in that. It's not about memorizing facts. It's about giving students something meaningful to talk about, and these are often the lessons that parents and students remember. If you want to talk about Valentine's Day, this is sort of the same idea, right? I've got a beginner one and then this more advanced Valentine's around the world one. The beginner lesson is really focused on family language, like I love my family. It talks about Valentine's Day cards and encourages students to make a card. It has a really simple story, listening activity. So it feels gentle, it feels warm, it doesn't overwhelm beginners. It introduces some new vocabulary while reinforcing vocabulary that they've already learned. The Valentine's Day around the world is more advanced. It's this, again, cultural comparison, reading activities, discussion based. And you can use this with teens who think Valentine's Day is silly or adults who are genuinely curious about how it's celebrated elsewhere. I have a couple of adult students and they like to talk about their culture, but they're also genuinely curious about our culture. And they can then compare and contrast. Maybe there is a celebration, and there actually is, similar to Valentine's Day, where it just doesn't happen to occur on February 14th. So now bringing it back to this week, and I said that, I like to try to use this time to build my business. And I did mention that you could certainly do a holiday party, invite people, get them to invite friends, all of those things. But this week, I actually have also gained 3 students. Not all of them actually new, which is interesting. So, 2 of them are new, and one of them is a former student of mine that I haven't actually taught for 2 years. And so I did 2 things. One, I had 2 trials last week, and I used the learning plan from the Teacher Hub. Some of you may have noticed that I released last week or the week before an update to the learning plan. And so really just created a much more polished PDF. So you can go through, create your learning plan, click, 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 and then print it and send it. And that's exactly what I did. I sent the PDF learning plan to the parents after the lesson with information about what we were going to do, the next steps, very much talking about, the future. This is what we are doing together. This is what we'll accomplish. And, immediately they wanted to know my schedule, their open times, they were booking class times. And while those lessons aren't starting until after the holidays, this was a really great opportunity to pick up a couple of new students in the schedule and fill some holes. I will just show you. So this is actually what I sent. And so you'll see that this is a printable version of the learning plan. Yes, the student's name was Panda. They are from China. And so you can see I have my information on it. We talk about the number of classes, strengths, areas for improvement, learning goals, long and short term, and my teacher comments. And a lot of this is automatically generated for you when you pick and choose the options. It will add your information for you. And of course, it looks very nice and is nicely organized and clean. So it makes you look very professional. This is all within the Teacher Hub. And so if you haven't checked out the Teacher Hub or you're not using it, then you might want to do that, or at least consider it and see if it works for how you work. Interestingly, one of the parents also has decided that she wants lessons, and we had a trial as well. And so now she's booking lessons too. So I didn't convince them. I just showed them what learning could look like. So the other thing that I did, which was super simple, was I actually just sent out a note. I have a group on my WeChat where I have all of my parents and students in it. And I typically just not super often, I'm really not regular with it. I post, greetings, like this was one for Chinese New Year. And sometimes I'll post that I've had a cancellation, and I will encourage people, if they're looking for an extra class, to grab it. I also post, tips. Sometimes I post questions. So I don't do enough with it probably. But what I did do was I posted that I had a couple of openings with my holiday greeting. and no pressure. But one of my students from 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks, 2 years ago, their mom reached out to me and they want to return. So they've booked weekly IELTS lessons with me, an hour a week, starting on February 21st. And that one message took less than a minute to send. And now I've got, a student that I know, that I enjoy teaching, and that has filled up 2 30-minute blocks in my schedule. So holidays don't have to mean lost momentum. They can actually be a chance to reconnect, re-engage, and remind parents why your lessons matter. If you've done something this holiday season, drop it in the comments and share. I'm always looking for new ideas that I can incorporate into my stuff as well. And you really have, sort of three simple things that you can do. And I'll just sort of recap. You can use seasonal lessons to build connection. Check out the lessons available for Chinese New Year and Valentine's Day from Florentis Learning. You can share what learning looks like with professional learning plans, and you can generate these in just a couple of minutes using the Teacher Hub. And don't disappear during quiet weeks. You can send kind, human messages, recognize the celebration, recognize the holidays, and it really can make a difference. So, if you want ready to use seasonal lessons like these, beginner to advanced, they're inside Florentis Learning Complete Classroom Curriculum. And if you're curious about the learning plans I mentioned, those are part of the Teacher Hub. So, all right, I'm going to sit here a bit longer and see if my student shows up. I suspect they're not at this point, but if not, I hope that this was a helpful reminder that quiet weeks don't mean wasted weeks. Hope to see you again soon. And if you have any questions, please drop your comments, send me an email, reach out on Facebook, and we will chat again soon. Thank you.